The old Blackwood mansion stood on a hill overlooking the village. It was a looming hulk of a house, dark and silent. No one dared to go near it. Villagers told chilling stories about the mansion. They whispered about strange noises and eerie lights. Some swore they'd seen ghostly figures lurking in the windows. The mansion had been empty for decades. Old Man Blackwood, the former owner, had vanished without a trace. Some said he'd gone mad and died within its walls. Others believed his ghost still haunted the mansion, searching for something he'd lost. The mansion was a scar on the landscape, a constant reminder of the mysteries and dangers that lurked beyond the village limits. It cast a long shadow over the lives of the villagers, fueling their nightmares and keeping them away. Even the bravest soul wouldn't dare to approach the mansion, especially not at night. Aryan was known for his adventurous spirit. Unlike the other villagers, he wasn't afraid of a good scare. He loved stories about ghosts and monsters. In fact, the more frightening the tale, the better. So it came as no surprise when he announced his daring plan to his friends. Rohan and Sia listened intently, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. Aryan was going to explore the haunted mansion. "We'll go tonight," Aryan declared, his voice filled with a thrill of anticipation. "Just a quick peek inside. What do you say?" Rohan, always cautious, hesitated. "Are you sure that's a good idea?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "You know what they say about that place." Sia, known for her adventurous streak, surprised them both. "I'm in," she declared, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the village, Aryan, Rohan and Sia set off. Their hearts pounded in their chests, a mixture of excitement and fear coursing through their veins. The air grew colder as they approached the mansion, sending shivers down their spines. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of a branch made them jump. Rohan kept glancing nervously over his shoulder, as if expecting something to be following them. Sia, despite her initial bravery, felt a knot of apprehension tightening in her stomach. As they finally stood before the imposing gates of the mansion, a cold wind swept through the trees, carrying with it the scent of decay and something else, something indefinable and unsettling. For a moment, they hesitated, their courage faltering in the face of the mansion's ominous presence. Section 4. A World of Shadows. With a deep breath, Aryan pushed open the creaking gates. The sound echoed through the stillness, sharp and piercing. The wrought iron was cold and rough beneath his hand, sending a tremor up his arm. The three friends stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the front door. The mansion loomed before them, its windows dark and empty like the eyes of a skull. Inside the mansion was a world of shadows and dust. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the air was heavy with the smell of decay. The only light came from the sliver of a moon shining through the grimy windows. Aryan took a hesitant step inside, the floorboards groaning ominously beneath his weight. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing through the empty hall. Only silence answered him. Rohan and Sia followed closely behind, their eyes darting nervously around the darkened room. Section 5. The Talking Mirror. They cautiously ventured deeper into the mansion, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Each room they entered was more dilapidated than the last, filled with decaying furniture and shrouded in a thick layer of dust. They reached a room at the end of the hallway. An ornate gilded mirror hung on the far wall. As they stepped closer, Rohan gasped. "Look!" he whispered, pointing at the mirror. His voice trembled with fear. For a moment they saw their reflections, distorted and grotesque in the dim light. Then the reflections changed. Their faces flickered, replaced by horrifying visages. A voice, raspy and cold, seemed to emanate from the mirror. "Leave," it hissed, the sound sending shivers down their spines. "Get out while you still can." The voice seemed to hang in the air, echoing through the silent room. Terror gripped their hearts, urging them to flee. Section 6. The Lady in Black. Frozen in fear, they could only stare at the mirror, their breath catching in their throats. The voice seemed to reverberate through their very bones, chilling them to the core. As they backed away from the mirror, a figure materialized at the top of the grand staircase. A woman dressed in a long, flowing black gown stood silently watching them. Her face was hidden in the shadows, but they could feel her cold, piercing gaze fixed upon them. A cold breeze seemed to emanate from her, chilling them to the bone despite the stillness of the air. "Who's there?" Aryan stammered, his voice barely a whisper. The figure didn't answer. She simply glided down the stairs, her feet making no sound on the wooden steps. With each step she took, the temperature in the room seemed to drop a few degrees. The air grew thick and heavy, making it difficult to breathe. Section 7. Trapped. Panic surged through them, urging them to flee. They turned towards the door, their only escape route, but it slammed shut with a resounding boom. The sound echoed through the mansion, bouncing off the walls and magnifying their terror. The doorknob refused to turn. The room seemed to be closing in around them, the shadows stretching and twisting, becoming more menacing. The temperature plummeted, and the air grew thick and heavy, making it difficult to breathe. The faint scent of decay intensified, filling their nostrils and making them gag. The floor beneath their feet began to tremble, a low rumble that seemed to come from the depths of the earth. A cold dread washed over them, rooting them to the spot. They were trapped at the mercy of whatever unseen force inhabited the mansion.